Okay, so second part here of the quiz. I'm running out of space on my quiz paper because of my felt tip pen. So let me do number 8 on a different piece of paper here, and then I should be okay. All right, so it is in descending order. There are no greatest common factors other than 1. So now I'm looking at how many terms. It's got 2 terms, so I'm going to see, does it fit the difference of squares pattern? Is it a squared minus b squared, which means then I could use the shortcut and go to a plus b, a minus b. And these are both perfect squares, right? J to the 4th would be j squared for the square root 16. The square root is 4. So that would be j squared plus 4, j squared minus 4. Now this one's in here because you have to remember that even though you've checked for everything back at the beginning, once you've gotten some factoring done, one of these factors may, or both, may end up being able to be factored further. So you need to double check those. All right, this one is a sum of squares, so no go there. That's just going to stay put. But this one is a difference of squares again. The difference is, the square roots being then j and 2. So, just dropping down that sum of squares term, and then I can do the second one into j plus 2, j minus 2. And then that would be my final answer. So occasionally you will get one where the a difference of squares will break into one that will have another difference of squares. So just be alert for that and double check those things before you put in your final answer. All right, so looking then at number 9, when we have lots of different variables happening here, like this one, we've got S, T, U, and V, it really doesn't make a huge difference about looking at the descending order. That's really more if we're looking at the trinomials and the binomials, those 2 and 3 term special situations. I do still want to look for that GCF first thing. So there is a common 5 throughout this. If there's something more than that with the variables, then I should be able to see it once I have factored out that 5. So just check through and make sure. Now, is there anything that's common to all 4 terms once we pull the 5 out? And that is going to be a no. So I will put the 5 over here in my answer blank so I don't forget that greatest common factor. And then I'm going to focus in on looking at these as a factoring by grouping situation. So in the first set of parentheses, we can factor out an s squared, leaving behind a t plus u squared. And in the second set, we can factor out a v, which is going to leave behind a t plus u squared. So that's awesome because we want those 2 binomials to match, because then we can factor that entire binomial out so that t plus u squared is factored out, and it was multiplied by s squared and v, so those get added together in the second set of parentheses. So the final answer will have that 5 on the front, and then the t plus u squared and s squared plus v. These are not perfect squares. So, I mean, one of the 2 is, but not both of them, and plus their addition. So there's no, that's how I know I can't go any further with these guys. They're not a difference of squares situation. All right, the last 3. Solving these using factoring. So if it's like number 10, it's already factored for you, and it's set equal to 0. Remember, that's the big thing. Can't let that go by. If it's all multiplication and set equal to 0, so we can say 8x equals 0, or x minus 6 equals 0. So x equals 0, or x equals 6. So those are the 2 answers we will have. number 10. Sorry, that was 10. Number 11. We need to factor it first. It is set equal to 0, so we're good on that score. We can factor out an x, looking for greatest common factor first. And once I've pulled out the greatest common factor, there isn't any additional factoring I can do. So now it just looks like number 10, and I can just set each of those terms equal to 0. Remember, if they multiply to 0, then one or both of them has to be equal to 0. So we either get x is 0 or x is negative 2. So, 0 or negative 2. I'll be the answers for that. Now the last one, you can't start factoring over here yet because we don't have it set equal to 0. So first step here is adding that 12 to both sides. So we're adding a positive 12 to both sides. So on the right we'll get the 0. On the left we'll have a squared minus 7a plus 12. And then 12 will be the number that we factor. So 12 is 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. It's either going to be both addition or both subtraction because of it being a positive final term. So we're going to be adding and using the 3 and the 4. So a minus 4, a minus 3 will equal 0. And here's where I'm getting into saying that, the factoring becomes the prelude part, and now this is where it's the new part. So then we can set each of those equal to 0. So a minus 4 equals 0, or a minus 3 equals 0. So a is 4, or a is 3. And so those are the possible answers for that one. And if you go back to check these in the original equation, you will get the same thing on both sides of the equation. Same for all of those. Okay, hopefully this helps. If you do have additional questions or concerns, just if anything's not clear, let me know. I will get back to you as soon as I can. I'm trying to rest, but as much as I can, but obviously I can't sleep all the time, so. All right, thank you, and I will see you on Wednesday for the test.